Thanks, Sarah. It's my great privilege to be representing the Greens in this federal election, and that's because the Greens is the party of the future. Unlike the two old way parties, the Greens are willing to face up squarely to the challenges that we face this century. The Greens won't pretend that we can have business as usual, which is what the old way parties keep trying to tell us. Things don't really have to change. We can just keep going along with things. You can have everything you want. And we know that that isn't true. I really believe that the Greens is the party who will tell the truth. And my feeling is, at this time in the electoral cycle, more and more Australians are coming to understand that that's the case, and they're starting to really respect us for that role as truth tellers. Challenges are one thing, but I also think that we're the party, the Greens are the party that has the creativity to face up to those challenges and have the ideas and the solutions to meet them. Through collaboration with some of the best and most knowledgeable thinkers, our policies are smart and well considered. Our policies are designed to be fair to Australians now, but also sustainable into the future. I also believe that Australians are crying out for leadership, and they're crying out for good, strong ideas based on strong values, and that's what the Greens can offer, and that's why I'm really proud to be standing here representing the Greens in this federal election. Many people, I believe, are despairing because they feel that there is no real choice in this election. We keep hearing that. And we are here today, and the Greens is here as a political party to remind people that there is a real choice, and that's a choice that every single Australian voter can exercise when they go to the polling booths on the 21st of August. They can actually vote for a party which has different, creative, courageous ideas. They don't have to vote for the old way parties anymore. So what do I offer if I'm elected to the Senate? Some matters are urgent. Climate change is happening now. We've known about the need to act on climate change since the 1980s. In 1988, the Hawke Cabinet discussed climate change. 20 years on, we still have talk and delay. We have no real action. Every year of delay, we know from the scientists and from the economists, every year of delay makes the situation more costly and more dire and harder to deal with. The Greens will work with whoever is in government to push for a price on carbon, because we have to send a price signal that's related logically to the very activity which is actually causing the problem that we face. That's urgent. The Murray-Darling River environment is an urgent situation too. We know that that river ecosystem needs water now to keep it alive. A dead river is no good to anyone, and that's what I've been saying wherever I've been going. I visited the Riverland last week. I'm not going to promise to people that we have all the solutions, but what we do know is that a dead river is no good to anyone. We have to keep that river alive, and we know what it takes. It takes a certain amount of water to ensure that the natural flow, the natural environment is looked after. And then we need to look at a shared, balanced distribution of water rights to all Australians who benefit from that river. We know that the lower lakes and Coorong are dying, and we must have immediate action to secure environmental flows to keep those places alive while longer-term planning occurs. And unlike the old way parties, the Green senators are united across state boundaries as to what's needed to manage this precious Australian river system for all Australians. It doesn't matter whether it's a Green senator from Victoria, from New South Wales, from South Australia or from Queensland. We have a united position because we are looking at it not just for now but for the future and for all Australians. There's also other reforms that I would be pledging myself to be working for if I was elected to the Senate. There are many reforms to our system that could deliver a fairer, kinder Australia. We now live in a society where the CEOs in the top 100 companies earn an average of over $5 million. If you'd predicted that to me 20 or 30 years ago, I would have said you were mad, that we would actually be complacent about a society where that's the case. While we know that at the same time, many Australians, the unemployed, people caring for others, students, people with disabilities, struggle to pay for the basic necessities of life. How have we come to this situation, and why isn't there more outrage about this? With a strong Greens voice in the Parliament, we will constantly tell the truth about the reality of life for many Australians. And our policies are designed to redress these inequities, the inequities that many people face on a daily basis. So, for instance, and Sarah's already referred to some of them, I'm really proud of our Denticare policy. It's a universal dental health scheme that entitles all Australians to basic no-frills dental cover. Too many Australians suffer poor health, and we know that there are health outcomes of bad dental hygiene, cardiovascular issues. 10% of GPs' visits are related to poor dental health. So the idea that we can somehow cut off dental health and the head from the other parts of the health system is just nonsensical. This scheme will help people who deal with chronic pain on a daily basis because of their poor dental hygiene. There are Australians who've been on a waiting list for over 2 and 3 years who are ashamed to leave their homes because they have such terrible teeth. They're ashamed to be seen with their children. They're ashamed to go out and find work. This proposal for Denticare was rejected by both the Old Way parties when it was put forward by the Greens recently. But we will continue to push for this because it makes such inherent fair sense. Sarah's also mentioned the Greens' health policy, which focuses on better primary health care. It's about keeping people well and healthy so that we save money at the other end to avoid acute high healthcare costs. It's not as sexy as opening big brand spanking new hospitals and equipment and machines that go ping, but it's what the health experts are telling us we actually need to do. We need to keep people healthier and fitter at one end, and we can save costs down the track. So again, where our policies are based on evidence, they're based on the best advice that we can get through collaborating with people who know what's needed. Mental health, one of my passions because of the area that I've been working in for the last 13 years. It's absolutely fantastic to see that mental health is now on the agenda finally after decades. It's wonderful. But our mental health policy is better than those that are still being proposed by the two Old Way parties, because we are calling for a significant investment in community support to keep people as well as possible and out of hospitals, away from the acute end. That will help people participate fully. They'll be able to manage their lives, do their shopping, get work, socialise, avoid some of the chronic loneliness that people with mental health problems experience on a daily basis. It will be about putting money into those services to keep people functioning and living as fully as possible in the society. We're enriched by that, and their lives are enriched by that. We also want to put money into early intervention for young people and others, because we know that that's a really good investment in terms of the prognosis for people down the track. And we also want to have acute admission procedures that don't mean that people get taken into emergency wards and shackled in some cases, because they're not appropriate places for people who are having an acute admission. We want to have specially designed places where people can be treated appropriately and fairly and kindly while they are their acute admission is being managed. And these policies are based on the best thinking and advice from mental health experts, because we've sought that advice and we've thought about what they've been telling us, and we've been collaborating with those people. Another area, of course, is offering an equal right to marriage for all Australians. The right for people to have their loving, committed relationships, surely the kinds of relationships any society would be wanting to encourage, to be formalised and acknowledged by everyone. The right for people to be who they are and to feel proud about who they are. And finally, let's talk about the future, because the Greens' policies are always looking at what's fair now and what's right now and what's necessary now, but also what's the effect, what's the implications for the future. We always act with an eye on the future, because a lot of the difficulties and challenges that we face now are because that hasn't happened in the past. We've had prescient people telling us what we're likely to see, and it's been ignored because it's too easy to make decisions right now, offering people everything without actually taking responsibility and being accountable for the future. And that's where the Greens are different. Examples are our idea, our smart idea, our creative idea for high-speed rail. It's been proposed frequently by the Greens. It's been rejected by the two other parties. But wonderfully enough, it's now, the sense of that idea has now been picked up by the ALP, for which I'm really happy. They're going to look into that as a possibility. I'm happy about that because in the end, Australia needs these good ideas. In the end, it doesn't really matter where they come from, as long as they're out there and they're being considered. So it's wonderful that they've actually had the ability to see that what we've been talking about for a long time is actually a really good idea. And what I say is, if we have more Green voices in the Senate putting those good ideas out there, then Australia will be the richer for it. And that's what we need. We are in a situation where we can't afford to say we're not going to have a huge proportion of the population's ideas ignored because we're arrogant enough to say that we don't need you. That's not the way that we do things in Australia. We actually need to have that alternative vision that the Greens are putting all the time. Another example would be our plan to get to 100% renewable energy. We think we can do it by 2030. The technology is there. We know the technology is there, and it's actually being taken up in other parts of the world. But we want to position Australia to be the best that we can be in the 21st century. We don't want to be behind the 8 ball in the dinosaur age, doing the old way things when there's other countries already taking up this technology. We just need the political will, we just need the political leadership, uncoupled from the undue influence of those who have an interest in telling us always we can't do it. We know we can do it, the technology's there, we need the political will to drive it forward. So the Greens are acting with an eye on the future all the time. So what I would say in summary is that the voters have a real choice in this election. People can vote for business as usual, which takes us nowhere. Or they can vote for a party that has a vision for a society which is healthy, fair and sustainable, and that's the vision that the Greens offers. So I say a vote for the Australian Greens is a vote of confidence in the future, and a vote in confidence about our power as Australians to make that future a really good place for all of us. Thank you.